Hi, this is Cindy Cochran. Welcome to the podcast of my show. Remember, you can join me live every weekday morning from 10 to 11 a.m. on Lone Star Community Radio, on Conroe's FM 106.1 and 104.5, and globally on irlonestar.com. If you're a big fan of my podcast, subscribe to my YouTube and SoundCloud channels, and you're always invited to my Facebook page, The Cindy Cochran Show. The Cindy Cochran Show is brought to you by our title sponsor, the Wooten Financial Group. Call today for all your financial concerns, 936-449-5952.
You are listening to Lone Star Community Radio on 104.5 KCZWLP Conroe and 106.1 KZCCLP Conroe, and worldwide on irlonestar.com.
Good morning, everybody. It is the Cindy Cochran Show.
Sorry, Cindy.
That's okay. Could you just hum that? You could have gone dun 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 or something. Hum my music.
There we go.
There it is. There it is. Oh, now I feel at home. Okay, good. You're listening to the Cindy Cochran Show. It is Wednesday. Halfway there, everybody. Wednesday. And boy, have I got a guest for you today. You won't believe it. It'll be so much funny. So many questions will be answered today about why I am who I am. You know, it will all happen today. Yes, we have a mystery guest with us today, and when you see the video, I mean, it's the coolest cat in town.
Wait, is this the Sam?
This is the Sam.
Oh, this is the Sam.
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't realize who I was meeting.
This is Sam the Man
Oh,
Cochran.
I feel honored right now.
Oh, you didn't realize this was my husband,
No,
Sam?
I didn't realize that was the Sam.
This is rare occurrence because a lot of people don't even think I'm married. They think I've made him up because they never see him, and so. I mean, my whole family didn't probably see Sam until, I think, the first child was 10 years old or something, and they were going like, we just didn't want to talk about it much because we were afraid that it really wasn't really a Sam. So, but there actually is, and you know what the word antithesis means? Since you're a college guy, you know what antithesis means?
No, I'm going to
Antithesis
disappoint.
means the direct opposite of whatever you're talking about. So, Sam is the antithesis of me. And that's why he loved me. That's why he was attracted to me. It was because of that reason. And you are listening to the Cindy Cochran Show, and I want to make that clear right up front because I don't know how the show's going to go now that Sam is in the house. So we'll see. But I first have to tell you that we're going to be talking about research that came out. That the researchers said that our culture, the American culture, has not changed that much since the 1950s. So I have an absolute eyewitness to the 1950s and to today, and has a lot to say on that matter. We're going to talk about that. And now I was also in the 50s, and I couldn't believe it. I almost choked when I heard this on the radio this morning, and I went like, how could they say that? That's the dumbest thing. I mean, that's literally fake news, and it must have been somebody that was born in 1982 that wrote the article and that has no idea what's actually been going on and just read some book somewhere or somebody told them. And so I'm hoping that we'll certainly clear that up. And anybody that's listening that lived through the 1950s will think that's the dumbest thing they've ever heard and will recognize it immediately as fake news, that a lot of things that are going on right now. I got to tell you this one thing, though. This reminded me of, I wish Richard was here because I feel like Richard might have done the very same thing this guy did. Yesterday it came out that this guy took a girl out on their first date. They went to the movies. And they sat down, they went to go see Guardians of the Galaxy, and the 3D version, in fact. I want to make sure you understand that. They sit down, and she gets out her phone, like within minutes, and the movie starts, and starts texting her friend. And he says, could you go out into the lobby or something and text you? He can't stand, that's a huge thing that sets him off is people texting in the movie. And she keeps doing it, and she won't stop. And he said, please go out and do that. You're bothering everybody. Go out and do that. So she got up and left, and she left the building and didn't come back. So he is now suing her for the $17.10 it cost to get them into the show, and that she owes him for the tickets, for her doing that, and then what he spent on her.
Okay, I was supporting him the whole way through that until you said that. You know how much legal fees are gonna cost? I mean, that's not
Can you
even
imagine?
worth it.
That's like smallest claims court. He's gonna take her. If you don't want a second date, you're glad she left. That's good.
That's a Judge Judy court. I mean,
Yeah,
come
that's,
on.
yeah. And they may have their own reality TV show, later. But I think that was like maybe the most frivolous lawsuit I think I've heard of is that. But I would love to be sitting on the jury for that one. So anyway, so it's bad all over. But I could just see, Richard going like, okay, all right, you think you'll walk out on me? That's the last time you walk us. I'm going to sue you for texting during the movie.
You think Richard would overreact to that extent?
I think he'd do it just out of the fun and the meanness of it. He's going to embarrass this girl so bad. But found out though that who she was texting was her friend, and she was telling her friend how creepy this guy was acting. And so she really didn't think she really wanted to even be at this date. And he's making her feel very uncomfortable. She wasn't saying that she was texting during the movie, but anyway, so it probably will all work out. And I just I hope we don't hear something radical has happened because this guy flips out even more and goes and tracks her down and stalks her and stuff. So I just hope I think it's great, and I don't know if it bothers you when people are texting in the movie. I never pay attention.
It doesn't personally bother me, but it's so inconsiderate because it bothers some.
But see, that's why I always want to sit at that first level where you can put your feet up on the
I go to this.
and you don't see anybody.
I go to the Cinemark that has the lounger seats that recline, and you can't see anybody in front of you.
See, that's where we're going. That's why I always trying to sit as close to the front as I can, so I feel like I'm by myself, and I don't want to see anybody do anything. I went to one show. I know what the show was. It was The Witches of Eastwick, and because this left such an impression on me, a friend and some neighbors. I always take the neighborhood kids to the show, so we had about maybe 5 people or 6 people going into the show. And we're walking down the aisle, and this guy says, "I'm sorry, these are all saved right here." I said, "Oh, I'm so sorry, excuse me." So we back out of that aisle. We come back to the one behind him, and start going down there. And he leans over and says, "No, I'm sorry, these are all saved, and these are all saved here." And I went, "What?" He goes, "Yeah, these are all." So then we have to go back like 3 aisles back, and I'm like, this is ridiculous. So we're sitting there. It's full. It's packed, except these 2 long aisles where nobody's there because he's told he's saved it for everybody. The whole show, nobody comes in and sits down. I want to go sit in that guy's lap and say, I'll sit right here, because I couldn't believe he did this, and everybody was intimidated by him, and when they didn't sit down.
Oh, once the movie started, I would have gone and gotten somebody, and I would have made sure he was out of that theater. That is ridiculous.
That is absolutely ridiculous. Now, Sam, the man, my husband, who is in the house, I want to say, first of all, thank you so much for coming here. Can you pull that mic over in front of your face? Because I know you project, but this is you're going to have to say, "Good morning, Sam. Good morning, Cindy."
You mean you're actually going to let me say something?
Yes. Now, see, I should have explained. The first part of a few minutes, I usually try and make the guests feel comfortable, so I talk about some things that are going on in the world.
Well, after 50 years, if I'm not comfortable, then I'm on the wrong boat.
That is true. I'm sure. I know you're very comfortable, but I was trying to get us into the movies because going to the movies with Sam is an experience, because Sam only likes certain types of movies. It has to be a period piece. It has to be a real, something that's real. He doesn't want to go to any action. He doesn't want to go anything that's CGI or AGK or whatever. He doesn't want any special effects.
I'll tell you why.
Why?
For probably close to 40 or 45 years,
right,
somewhere in that range, they've been trying to beat the bullet scene with Steve McQueen on the streets of San Francisco.
That's true.
With their cars running through the street scene.
Right.
And they've never topped that yet.
No, they haven't.
And they still keep trying.
And
they get worse.
Yeah.
They're
true.
more. They explode more cars.
Mm-hmm.
They use all this new technical fake stuff, and they still haven't topped that scene and that old Mustang, whatever year it was, a 66
67.
Mustang.
I think it was 67 when that came out, and that was, and they found out if we have car scenes and chase scenes, we don't have to write dialogue. We don't have to pay the actors. So let's just do this, and then maybe we can end the show some way. Help us end the show, because I agree. They haven't topped that. That was the first time we'd seen something like that, and it was really cool. It was cool at that point.
You opened your show with the idea about someone had done a study
Right.
about 50s versus now, and that the culture hadn't changed.
Right.
I don't know what they're smoking, but the 50s
I
were the
agree.
greatest time in this country, and the reason I know that is that's when I was forming my values, and I had become aware of what was going on in the world.
Right.
During the 50s, that would have been for me between the ages of about 9 all the way up to graduating from high school. Okay, because I graduated from high school in 1960. And if you wanted to try to equate values of the 50s to today, you got to talk to somebody that lived through it. Because if you were born just a little bit later, not to be able to experience being cognizant of your surroundings during the 50s, you missed it. It was the greatest time in the history of this country. And Leave It to Beaver, for example, that was true. That's the way life really was. I mean,
the women wore pearls and
they didn't necessarily wear pearls,
vacuumed in their
but the
dress.
values were the same.
No,
The values
very
were so
simplistic
simple, and they were out on the table.
right. No, that's true. I agree. I really agree that we have changed a lot. I don't know, in some facets of it, it could be for the better. And I lived, I was forming in those during the 60s. Sam's a little bit older than I am, but I remember the 50s, of course, and the movies, the music, and the times. And I thought where we lived, I thought we were like middle class. I thought my family was we were rich, and it's not rich. I knew there were friends that had more money and bigger houses and all that, but I thought it was middle class. I didn't know we were in the poor side of town. And so, because we had such a great time, we had neighborhoods and the neighbors that got together, and everybody played outside until it was dark. Your parents wouldn't let you in the house, and it was such a fun time. I agree with you on that. And we're going to talk about, when we come back, that Sam, the man, my husband, Sam Cochran, and we're going to talk to him a little bit more, because he's an expert witness. You have these people, and you listen to the news, and they go, we have with us a former FBI agent who will tell us exactly what happened. And so I now have a former witness to the 1950s, literally, and we're going to talk about that when we get back. You're listening to the Cindy Cochran Show, Real Reality Radio. We want to thank Wooten Financial Group for our sponsorship. Yay.
Every week I get asked the same two questions. Am I ready to retire? Will my savings last for our lifetime? Hi, this is Chris Wooten with Wooten Financial Group. Our firm has been in Montgomery County for decades, but the hopes and dreams of the people we serve never change. If these two questions are on your mind, we'd like to help. We have a simple, introductory client experience that allows us to get to know you and includes a few meetings for you to kick the tires at no charge. We'll provide you with a one-page summary that helps you get a better handle on which questions are the right questions for you. To take the first step to a clear direction for your retirement, call Wooten Financial at 936-449-5952. That's 936-449-5952. Or visit us on the web at wootenfinancial.com. That's WOOTTON financial.com. Get started today.
And you're back on the Cindy Cochran Show. Thank you so much for listening in, and we really appreciate it. And if you're listening to us on 106.1 or 104.5, welcome. And maybe your first time, you may be driving down through, New Waverly. You're coming into Willis, and you're not really paying attention, and you're just trying to tune in some station because you just left, Magnolia and all that, and so you're going like, what's on there? And you get to 104.5, and you go like, all right. Talk shows, yay! And if you don't like this talk show, there's others that come along, and then we have country music, really good country music. So we welcome you, and always globally we are transmitted over the internet. If you go to irlonestar.com and just click on tune in live, and whatever show is playing, and there you're able to hear that anywhere. So that's why we say good morning to people like Don Wilson, who are listening to us from, thousands of miles away, but there he is, and Dennis O'Connor, who's right down the street. And so we have people that check in with us regularly on Facebook, and now I am on Facebook, so if you have something sweet to say, finally, okay. And Dennis said finally he's been waiting to hear from Sam, so now, and he has always said, nobody can get a word in edgewise. He gets so mad because I have guests on and I don't let them talk. Excuse me, it's a Cindy Cochran talk show. No.
You let me talk, so.
Yeah, no. Yeah, but you only, he's the old school because he only speaks when he's spoken to. That's good. That's good, Jake. But Sam, let me tell you a little bit of history. Sam, in the 50s, he had a group called the Del Reys. And this was in the late 50s and early 60s before the Beatles came out. And he was, he wrote songs. And I Love You Baby was on the charts. And so he was popular. He was on the radio here in Houston when there was only like 2 radio stations. On K News and KILT. Were you on K News as well or just KILT?
Those 2.
Both of them. You're on both of them. Okay.
Yeah.
So he was very popular, and I was going to have that song ready just to surprise him, but this kind of came up like last minute. But I'll get that song. It's a cool song. So he was in that era of the music and the simplicity even of the music and the writing of it and all that. And there were the men had just come back from the war, and they were getting their jobs and starting to work, and the women went back to being the housewives they're supposed to be. That's what you're supposed to do. Because the women had to do a lot of the jobs the men did while they were off to war. And when they came back and everything was supposed to change, the woman was to become submissive again and be in the home. And that was the way it was to work in our culture. And it wasn't bad. There wasn't anything wrong with it or bad with it. But then the 60s came, and there was a rebellion that had started happening. And that's when I came along, and my culture or in the environment that I was in. Yet, because I was brought up in a very strong religious family, it was more of, this is the way you're supposed to do it. But it was unconventional. My mom was unconventional. And so was my dad in a sense. My dad was more the 50s guy. But Sam, then I meet Sam, and Sam reminded me of someone that could really, this guy, he's a little older, he's wise, he knows what's going on in the world, and he could take care of me. He's so talented. And, he had that showbiz stuff, because I first saw him, and it was a club, and he was singing. And I noticed when I go to this club that he always had a different suit on every time. I'm like, this guy must be so wealthy. And why he was attracted to me, I don't know, because I only had like one dress. Isn't that right, honey? I just had one dress.
It was like seeing a little child trying to cross a busy street. I felt obligated to keep you from getting run over.
Isn't it romantic?
That hasn't changed, has it?
Not one bit. If anything, it's even worse. The traffic's heavier now.
That was very good. I'll write that one down. That was good. Okay. See, doesn't he just fit right in with
He's
you
perfect.
guys?
He's
Yeah,
perfect.
he does.
See, there's a progression to what you're getting to here.
Okay.
Progression starts, really to understand it, with our grandparents, both yours and mine, even though there's 7 years difference in our age.
Mm-hmm.
Our grandparents came from the Victorian era, and it was an era that was based on discipline, both on the female side and the male side. Mm-hmm. And then the Depression came along, okay? And by then, the Victorian parents had had children, and those children had to live through the Depression along with their older parents. So the fact that the Victorian era had instilled the discipline in the culture helped people make it through the Depression. All right. Mm-hmm. Then we had World War II, which kicked off an economic boom. And the participants in World War II, our parents, had children, us, all right? And then came all the technological advances, which started primarily because of World War II
Right?
in its infancy. And it was starting to build steam in the 50s, and then it went to the moon in the 60s. And what you had there was our society reaching a point to where technology made life a little easier. And to me, technology, when I was a kid, was an air conditioner. We got our first air conditioner, I think, when I was maybe 10 years old.
When you had
12, no, I was probably 15 years old.
And what about television?
Well, television too, but you don't get me started on television.
Okay. Sorry.
Let's just use something simple like air conditioning, okay? Because it made life a little easier, a little simpler, took a little of the pressure off. And what I'm building up to here is that now, let's go fast forward to now, where people are sitting around staring at their phones all day, giving voice commands for things to happen at home while they're at work, so their washing machine will go on and all that type of thing. People have lost touch with what it really feels like to have to do a lot of things on your own because you have developed self-discipline to make yourself do it. Now society makes you do certain things. You're
Right.
forced into a corner, so you have to do those things. And there's a huge difference between society now and in the 50s. You could do a major business deal in the 50s, in the early 50s anyway, with a handshake.
Right.
You'd be laughed out of town if you said that out loud today.
True.
And it just goes on and on and on. Things have gotten easier. People expect them to be easier. And it's even to the point now to where people expect things to be free. Everything is supposed to be a gift from God. Whereas because of the Victorian discipline that I mentioned and because of the Depression and the discipline it took to get through World War II, hard work was the key. And that was what you heard from the time you were a little teeny kid when I was growing up. If you work hard, you can be successful. And that was it, basically. So it's a totally different environment now. And for someone to come out and say that there hasn't been any change in our culture, like I said before, I don't know what they're smoking, but they're on the wrong route.
I totally agree, because in the 50s, especially, you go into a classroom, and those kids are not talking back to the teacher, throwing things to the teacher, getting up, walking around, and just walking out of class if they want to, or threatening the teacher. That didn't happen. And
Well, they'd have been thrown out the window
oh yeah,
in
right.
the 50s.
Right. So, some things that we tried to become so, I guess, liberal with have backfired in a lot of ways, and that we're paying the consequences for. But every generation wants their kids to have it better and wants them not to have to go through what they went through, right? You agree with that?
That's part of the reason things are where they are.
Well,
My generation, your generation, we made a lot of mistakes with our kids. We had things a lot easier.
right. we did.
We had moved up a couple of notches in the economic strata, and so we were able to make it easier on our kids. And so therefore, our kids didn't have to learn those hard lessons that we had to learn. And I use the word hard. That's probably a little harsh. I mean, they were valuable lessons.
Right.
I couldn't have made it through life without the things that I learned early in life because of what was going on in our culture during that time.
Right.
I
But
mean,
you didn't go through any rebellious stage because they weren't having that kind of rebellion.
Well, I went through the same rebellious thing that all kids do when their hormones start to change.
Well,
That hadn't changed.
right. No, that's right. But I'm talking about so Marlon Brando comes along and the Rebel, and that was like a big shocker for everybody to see that there were teenagers that were starting to kind of rise up and wanting to be, rebellious. And so they did these movies on it and started seeing a real change in the culture of the teenagers and all, because they hadn't been, used to before, because we were going through a war, and a lot of people were busy just trying to make it and survive. And then here comes the late 50s, and then Elvis Presley and all that people got scared about what the teenagers were going to turn out to be. So hold on to that thought, because we have to go to a break. And you're listening to Sam Cochran, my husband, who agreed to be here and talk about why the 50s it was such a culture shock coming out of the 50s to the 60s.
I think we have to say that he's here on his own will. We did not force him to come.
You don't know what I'm holding over his head.
That's not 100% true.
Okay, you're listening. This is Cindy Cochran on the Cindy Cochran Show. It works out well that way. We'll be right back. And when you're listening to the Cindy Cochran Show, it's real reality radio. And we want to thank Wooten Financial Group for being so brave to be our sponsor. We'll be right back.
Every week I get asked the same two questions. Am I ready to retire? Will my savings last for our lifetime? Hi, this is Chris Wooten with Wooten Financial Group. Our firm has been in Montgomery County for decades, but the hopes and dreams of the people we serve never change. If these two questions are on your mind, we'd like to help. We have a simple introductory client experience that allows us to get to know you and includes a few meetings for you to kick the tires at no charge. We'll provide you with a one-page summary that helps you get a better handle on which questions are the right questions for you. To take the first step to a clear direction for your retirement, call Wooten Financial at 936-449-5952. That's 936-449-5952. Or visit us on the web at wootenfinancial.com. That's WOOTTON financial.com. Get started today.
We're back on the Cindy Cochran Show. Thank you so much for listening. And if you're just joining us, we've got Sam, the man, in the studio with me today. My husband, Sam Cochran, very well-known musician around Houston and then nationally when their song went national. And so he has that music background thing going on. And then he met me, and, it just went right from there. No, shut up.
End of that tune.
Dennis O'Connor has, he tries to keep me balanced. He's always giving me notes on my Facebook page live while we're doing the show. And so he said, get to the point and let Sam talk. Wow, Sam, he thinks you're great. And he says, let him roll. And so far, it's very cool. Make the questions less verbose. Let Sam talk. P.S. I know my voiceover has been removed from the show. It's fine with me. Where's his filler? When he goes the Cindy Cochran Show.
Real reality radio.
No, he goes, real reality, and then he'll go, if these walls could talk, they still couldn't get a word in edgewise. Those kind of fillers that he has.
We've got enough with your sponsor and with other things going. Now, if he follows the YouTube and all of your, goodness gracious, iTunes and Google Play,
yes,
it is still on there.
Oh, it's on there. Okay.
Yes.
All right. So I may have to have you come in and cut some more, Dennis. But Dennis is. No, he thought maybe Wooten had probably Googled his criminal record, and that's why he's off the thing. No, Dennis,
I can't speak for Wooten.
That's not it. But anyway, so Sam, you've got a fan, and he'd rather hear you talk than me. So I'll let you go on. But I was just making the point quickly that in the 50s there was rebellion at that point from teenagers, and adults were getting scared about what the teenagers were going to be doing. Besides the aliens coming in from outer space, they were scared about the teenagers because they were making it. There was a change going on, and the weed, what was it called? Reefers started showing up, and so drugs started coming into the scene. Do you remember that, or you just discount that and ignore that? Because there was rebellion going on and change happening.
Well, look, there was change going on, but it was a morph that was taking place. And what it was, if you look at what had happened during that relatively short period of time, from, let's say, the mid-1920s to today,
Mm-hmm.
in the mid-1920s, the majority of the economy of this country was based on an agrarian society.
Right.
When you listen to our grandparents talk about things, they kept referring to, well, on the farm we did this, and on the farm or on the ranch we did that. Society evolved very, very quickly from an agrarian society to an industrialized, now to a high-tech society in a short period of time.
Right.
So it would be like watching a birth. If you see the egg crack open and you see the chick struggle to get out of the shell, that's exactly what you have seen for the last 50 or 60 years with this society, is a huge change. If you look at other parts of the world, take Africa, for example, some of the third world countries. I mean, they're mainly agrarian societies, and they have been since time immemorial. So basically, yes, there's always been a certain amount of what you would call rebellion because things were changing and people were having a hard time reacting to those changes.
Right.
So, and I wouldn't necessarily call what's going on now a rebellion. I would file it more basically under confusion. People, there aren't any real pat rules.
Well,
And that was the great thing about the 50s. Life was so simple.
Because there were boundaries, and the people respected
There were
those
boundaries, and they were simple enough for everybody to understand them. And so consequently, it made, in hindsight, you didn't realize it at the time, but looking back on it, it made life a lot more enjoyable. I can remember simple little things in my memory bringing back great joy. Like, for example, and you got to be an old codger to remember this, but if you ever heard it, you will. On a Saturday afternoon, you're out playing with your buddies in the yard, and there's no air conditioning in the houses if you lived in an addition, a residential addition. So you can hear noise coming out of these houses. And what you heard on a Saturday afternoon, you heard the voice of a guy named Curran Tips, and he was the commentator for Southwest Conference football. And you heard him giving the commentary on a football game. It might have been Rice versus Texas or whatever. And those kind of things stick in your memory. Now, that would be hard for a young person to identify with that. I say a young person, it would probably be hard for anybody any younger than 50 years old to identify with that.
True.
Because they never played outside with the windows open in a house where they could hear what was going on the inside. In fact, a lot of people under 40 might have never seen a window opened in their house, much less had some kind of a cultural influence on their background because of things they heard from their neighbors.
Boy, that's true.
So little things like this have a lot to do with the difference in the culture, getting back to your original preface on this discussion, of the difference between life in the 50s and life today. And that's my own humble opinion, having lived through World War II, the 50s, and watched it really start to change in the 60s.
Well, I know your dad lived to be 101, and almost 101. And to sit and listen to him go through what he, seeing the first airplane, the cars and all that, the things that started way back then, and to hear him tell the story of how things progressed and all, it is extremely interesting. I think that what drives Sam crazy right now, today, is to have our grandson Samuel and granddaughter Cindy playing on these video games and not going outside and playing. That drives him nuts, because that's the best memories that we both have as kids, is playing out in the neighborhood. Now, we live on land, and we live where there's only one child per, maybe in 5 miles from where we are, but we don't have that, we're a next door neighbor where the kids come out and play and all that. So it's difficult, but it drives him crazy. So he's always, trying to get them out, play some baseball. We've got all this land where, like he has said many times, if you had that land, what you'd be doing with it right now, if you lived like that and had that opportunity to just go out and play.
Well, in lieu of the video games and the tablets and all that type of thing, your most valued possession if you were a boy the age of Samuel, and he's 12, from the ages of about 8 until you were 12, were your baseball glove, your baseball, your bat, and your needle to be able to pump up your basketball and your football. Because you played baseball during the summer, you played football during the fall, you played basketball through the heat of the winter, and then the whole thing started over again with baseball in the spring and in the summer.
Right.
And, you know, as I flash back in my memory back to that period of time, those were the things that were the most valuable possessions I had.
Did you have your baseball cap, the bill of it, in a glass?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
To roll it. I remember seeing that on dressers, boys having that on their dressers. That was the big deal. And then the glove, the ball was in the glove, and they would constantly be oiling the glove and all that.
Rubber banding it with the baseball inside.
Right.
Right.
Forming
right,
it. Yeah.
Right. Jake is going to do a sports show. I don't know when it's going to start.
We're working on it. Yeah, we're getting the
Okay.
pre-production in place so soon. I'd love to have you on, Sam. I hear you're a boxing fan.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. Well, I used to be until it got so expensive to watch it on TV.
Well, yeah,
you know?
yeah.
But he can tell you about all the greats that happened. All the
The
greats.
Wednesday night fights during the 50s, that's another 50s flashback. I used to watch that. That was one of my dad's and my bonding times.
Yeah, that's one of those things that it's sad to see it go, but it wasn't profitable for him. So, but yeah, I miss, because my grandfather and my father used to sit down every Wednesday night and they'd watch the Wednesday night fights, and that was their sort of thing. So,
You see? Well, yeah, you'll have to, because he is a big sports enthusiast, and even his son, Chad. That's what, Chad loves sports. He loves the Astros and the Rockets and Texan teams. He loves that, and is very loyal, very loyal. It upsets him. He emotionally can't function if things happen badly for the teams. Isn't that right?
Yeah.
It's just amazing. He takes it to heart. And whenever I start watching, like if the Rockets are winning, and I start watching and go like, "Well, did you see that game?" He said, "Don't talk to me like you've been watching them all year. Don't jump in at the end when they're winning. Then you want to talk about, and he gets all,
he must be dying right now.
Oh yeah. It's not a pretty sight there.
But hey, at least the Astros are doing good, so he's got to
Yeah.
be happy about that.
Oh
so.
yeah, because he loves the Astros as well. So I agree. Okay, well I know we've got to take another break. It's just these breaks keep coming, but it's what pays the bills. We got to do this kind of thing. So Jake, I know you want to take it away from me and do something.
You got time. You got another 2 minutes.
I got 2 minutes?
You got 2 minutes.
Oh, that's like forever. Okay. So the name of your song, I Love You, Baby. I know you didn't write it about me. Right?
No, you.
I
I'm
came
not
along
even
so
sure
much
you were
later.
born yet.
No, I was born. But, and my sister's 6 years older than I am. And when she found out I was marrying Sam Cochran from the Del Reys, because she knew, she knew his group and all that. And so how exciting it was. And so he came from that era, from all that. Then the Beatles came along. And when we come back, we'll talk about how the Beatles kind of really upset the whole music scene. And it changed rapidly at that point. So, guys, don't go away, because you're listening to Cindy Cochran Show, and it's real reality radio. And we've got Sam the Man Cochran, my husband, in the studio, and we'll be talking to him again in just a moment. Don't go away.
Every week I get asked the same two questions. Am I ready to retire? Will my savings last for our lifetime? Hi, this is Chris Wooten with Wooten Financial Group. Our firm has been in Montgomery County for decades, but the hopes and dreams of the people we serve never change. If these two questions are on your mind, we'd like to help. We have a simple introductory client experience that allows us to get to know you and includes a few meetings for you to kick the tires at no charge. We'll provide you with a one-page summary that helps you get a better handle on which questions are the right questions for you. To take the first step to a clear direction for your retirement, call Wooten Financial at 936-449-5952. That's 936-449-5952. Or visit us on the web at wootenfinancial.com. That's WOOTTON financial.com. Get started today.
And we're back on the Cindy Cochran Show. Thank you so much for listening, and we really appreciate your listenership, and that you can go to YouTube if you miss any of these golden moments. go to YouTube and go to the Cindy Cochran Show and go to my channel. I have a channel there, and every time a new show comes up, which will be the same day, this show will come back up, and you can listen to. You'll hear the ding on your phone, and it'll happen. That's what technology does for them, honey. Is that they get to hear my show and they hit the repeat,
dings them.
and it dings them to let them know another Cindy Cochran Show is hit the air, and so they can listen to it and watch it anytime they want to. And you'll be able to see Sam. Now, Sam is not blind, but he's got his cool shades on because the light is way too bright in here for him. You have more like the club, you like to be in the club-like atmosphere, right? No, he looks like one of the Sopranos today. So it's like, and he could very well be. He has a background that we could tell you about, but then we'd have to kill you about when he was younger, right, honey? Isn't that the truth? I'm telling the truth, right?
About?
You know what I'm talking about, but I can't talk about it. Okay, so it's not. Well, it's kind of nefarious, but not as bad as you'd absolutely think. But you do have a past. I mean, it's a past. It's not a criminal past.
Well, I hope I do.
You have a past that's pretty interesting, and I love that. You just never know. That's why he loves me so much, because he never knows what I'm going to do, what I'm going to say, and that keeps that interest there. It really does. Just ask your mom and dad. Because your dad probably doesn't know everything about your mom. That she keeps the little stuff back so that she can eke that out later on. But I love your mom. You're telling me stuff about your mom that I can't wait to meet her, and I want to have her on and to interview her. We would have so much fun. I can tell her about the time that I broke into the sports club place where all the reporters go and report in the Astrodome, and I went in there. I didn't know that the women weren't allowed in there, and I walked in. And Lowell Thomas comes over and says, "Excuse me, what are you doing here?" And I said, "I'm with Channel 13. I came in. I'm meeting Elma Barrera." And he goes, No, women are not allowed in the press room up here." And I went, "Wait a minute, what?" And I was just shocked. I couldn't believe it. And so I'm in there talking to him, and Elma comes up, and she's going, "What?" Through the glass.
Yeah.
"What are you doing in there? Come out." So I went out there, and I said, "Elma, how can you stand this?" And she goes, I know, but you can't go in there. Only men are allowed." Well, that changed. That changed pretty soon after that. But that was amazing. So your mom would be proud of me for crashing that.
Oh yeah.
And getting to go in
she's very feminist strong. She doesn't hate men. She's not
No.
like, oh, women should dominate the world.
Right.
But
But it's just
she likes to fight for the equal
there's
opportunities.
there's some common sense things about that. And now Sam has really grown and evolved from that. I don't want you working. You're my wife. You need to stay home and take care of the kids. Now he says, go get some money. Go earn that money. Go do something. And you can buy your own clothes now. You can buy your own stuff now. I don't have to do that. Isn't that right, honey?
It's one thing for me to say it. It's another thing for it to happen.
That's true.
I think Dick knows that motto.
Oh, that was very good. Yeah, Richard could commiserate with you real well. Like, I try and tell her to do this all the time. She needs to do this. You're supposed to do this, and she won't do it. What's wrong? What am I doing wrong, Sam? And he would probably say, what? What advice would you give Richard about making me do better and follow the rules?
Boy, I'm the wrong person to ask.
Well, no, I thought maybe
you're the epitome. Look at what I've got here.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, that's
Talk about undisciplined.
Undisciplined. Well, but you still love me anyway.
Of course.
Right? Okay. All right. So let's make sure that happens. Even though I am undisciplined. No, I do. You know what's bad is I pray that I could be consistent and to be more disciplined like Sam. It's a good thing I married him. I didn't realize how badly I needed some discipline in my life.
It's called a counterbalance relationship.
Yes, it is.
I think y'all are the ideal example of opposites attract.
Right.
Amen, brother. It is so true. We got married on Christmas Eve, and everybody told me where I worked, "Don't do it. You're so stupid. You're going to get one present. That's all you're going to get. Don't get married on Christmas Eve." But the deal was that wasn't the problem. Is there's nothing open to go celebrate. You can't go to a restaurant. You can't go anywhere, and you have to be home wrapping presents for your children.
Well, that's where you're going to be anyway, so it really doesn't make any difference.
So we went to Hawaii, and we went to Hawaii Hawaii for a business trip he had to go on, and we went to was it what's the name of the place?
Maui.
Maui, yeah, Maui. So we were going to get married again, and we were going to have a chapel, really romantic thing. And so Sam found out it was going to cost like $400 to go in there and do and he goes like, that's ridiculous. It'll be more intimate, more personal if we just do this ourselves and God. We just do this between us and God and save $400. And so we did that, and it was so romantic. It was so sweet. And I can't remember what the date is, though. So we're going to have a brand new day to celebrate our anniversary, so it wouldn't be on Christmas Eve. Now nobody can remember which date that was, so it's terrible.
Well, the date doesn't make any difference. The fact that you remember that we did it,
Yeah,
that's all that counts.
That's all the state wants.
When you get to be my age, just remembering where you are at any one moment is a blessing, much less little details like that.
Boys, that's so true. That's so true. Hey, if we can just remember where we parked when we get out of the store, that is. And every day, I'm trying every day to remember, see things, be aware. When I get out of the car, is the W, am I going to walk toward the W at Walmart or the K at Kroger? That's where I'm walking toward, and that way when I come out of the store, I'll remember how to get back to the car. Those are just those little things in life that we like to try and remind you of. On the Cindy Cochran Show to remember. So now tomorrow is going to be a Thursday, yay, and if we're all breathing in and out regularly, we'll be right back here, 10 to 11, Monday through Friday. The Cindy Cochran is Monday through Friday. And we hope to have a guest, but I'm not going to promise anything anymore. I'm not.
Well, who are we trying to get?
Well, I'm trying to get Kevin Brady.
Kevin Brady.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Who's Kevin Brady?
Oops. He doesn't know who Kevin Brady is. Should we tell him?
I know who Tom Brady is.
You know Kevin Brady. Kevin Brady, our congressman.
Oh, like I said, I don't follow politics enough. I just follow sports.
That's all. You know what I love about having this baby in here?
I'm a baby.
That we can teach him things, and we can start from scratch, and then he'll be. We're going to teach him the right way. This is the right way. Kevin Brady is our U.S. Representative of Texas in Congress, and what's great about Kevin Brady is that he is sitting next to President Trump all the time now. And so every time you see Trump, you're going to see Kevin Brady there. A lot of things are going on with the tax reform that's going to happen and all. Kevin Brady's come up with a card this big, like a postcard.
That identifies it?
That's all you have to fill out. That's all you're going to have to do. IRS will be wanting, having signs out, will do taxes for food, because we're not going to need them anymore. But anyway, so Kevin Brady's got a lot of revolutionary ideas and things that are coming up and getting a lot of press. And now he's done all that. Now I wonder if I'm going to be able to get him on the show. But anyway, we're getting ready to go off the air for now.
I got one more question for Sam, and it's unrelated to everything that we've discussed today. But Sam, do you golf?
I used to golf, but due to back and knees, I quit several years ago.
I don't. Oh, you got to get closer to the mic. They can't hear you.
No. He hit the mic off button.
Oh, hit the other button. Oh, did you think you're going to have to cough? Now.
There
now.
you go.
That there?
Yep.
Yeah.
Perfect.
Okay.
See, he does what people are supposed to do after you finish talking. All right, I'm putting the mic off. I'm not going to talk anymore. But you never.
I have one more question. I know. I'm sorry. I threw you a curveball.
Yes, I'm a good kisser. What? What's your question?
No, yeah. Do you golf anymore or no?
No. I would love to, but I was a marathon runner for a lot of years, and when I was in my mid-60s, my back started shorting out, my knees started shorting out, and the best way for me to have to go back to the chiropractor is to go out and swing a club, so I had to quit.
And were you a shortstop in baseball?
No, I played third base. I pitched. I played first base, and played all the way through high school, and actually played one summer of pro ball.
Really?
Yeah.
With what club?
Well, it was an instructional. They didn't call it at that back in those days. It was like a single A type club.
Okay.
Down in Sarasota, which was part of the Cardinals organization.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
That's real cool.
Yeah. So I got down there and saw. There was a rude awakening. There were guys who had been down there 2 and 3 years, and they were so much better than I was that I said, whoops, I better get back into school.
Well, I'm just glad you made it back to Houston and we got married. Thank you, Sam, for coming on. I love you. You're so sweet to do this. It's so precious of you.
Yes, I am.
And we'll be tweeting this out to all of our family to say, you want to hear Sam talk about the 50s, go back in time. Listen to the Cindy Cochran Show. Okay, we'll be back tomorrow, guys. Thank you so much for listening, and thank you to the Wooten Financial Group. And have a great day. Go make somebody happy. Call somebody you hadn't talked to in a while. Go ahead. It'll make you feel better. Thank you, Jake, the intern. See ya.
Bye, guys.
Bye-bye. Hi, this is Cindy Cochran, and I want to thank you for checking out The Cindy Cochran Show and invite you to listen live every weekday morning from 10 to 11 on FM 106.1 and on 104.5 and globally on irlonestar.com. The show you just fell in love with was recorded and will be posted on our podcast channels on iTunes and Google Play. You can even watch the show on our YouTube and on TV with our City TV Channel 12 on Suddenlink. So make sure to subscribe to keep up with me. My Facebook page, The Cindy Cochran Show, is always a good place to contact me through messages, to interact live on the air and ask questions, make suggestions, whatever. Special shout out to the show title sponsor, the Wooten Financial Group.